Hello everyone, I'm Kyle Turner for the NEC On The Run podcast. Today we're talking men's basketball with Ron Ratner. Ron, first episode of the year. We have 5 teams tied for first. What can you tell me about them?
It's already starting. 4 games into the season, 5 teams tied at 3-1 for first place. And if you look at the preseason poll, 3 of those teams really weren't expected to challenge for a title. Now it's early. We got to admit it's early. But you had Wagner was picked 6th, St. Francis U was picked 8th, and FDU was picked 9th, and they're all tied for first. So I figure let's take a look at these 5 teams and let's see what's gotten them to the point in the year where they're 3-1. Kyle, let's start with the preseason number 1, Mount St. Mary's. Mount St. Mary's, tough non-conference season. They play a very challenging schedule. They come into the league play, they're at home, and when they're at home, they play their best. That mayhem style, they're coming at you from all different angles, they're a deep team, and they get you to play their game. Up and down the court, they're forcing turnovers, and when they're hitting their shot from outside, the three-pointer, they are tough to beat. The great point guard in Junior Robinson. And they're stacked at a lot of positions with Greg Graves at power forward and BK Ash, who's one of the best players in this conference. They are going to be a tough out. They're going on the road now. We'll see how they do this weekend playing at RMU and SFU. Kyle, let's turn our attention to Bryant University. Bulldogs picked 3rd in the preseason poll. They're starting 2 freshmen and a sophomore, but they've managed to balance that with the senior leadership of Shane McLaughlin, and they have an all-star power forward in Dan Garvin. I love their young guys, though, and I love what they're getting out of them. Marcel Petway's a 4-time NEC Rookie of the Week who has no limit to his potential. He's a 6'5", sturdy, 250-pound interior player, but what I like about him is he can really pass the ball, and he really has good court awareness. You team him up with Hunter Ware, a sophomore who's a scoring guard, and Nezre Zuzwa, who's a freshman who can get up and down the court and hit the 3. You have a solid starting 5 up there in Smithfield. They have to play the 2 Brooklyn teams this week, and I like what I see out of them. Shane McLaughlin just has the motor running there. They had a Game of the Year candidate against Mount last weekend, which they won in overtime, and Shane McLaughlin was the hero of that game, scoring the game-tying hoop. And then when they went to double overtime, he scored 7 points in the second OT. I like what he gives them. They're a contender. Wagner College, as we said, they were picked 6th in the preseason, but now Bashir Mason has built a team that's really the image of himself as a great defensive player when he was at Drexel. This is a team that hits the boards hard. They're ranked nationally in offensive rebounding. They're number 1 in the NEC in rebound margin. In 4 NEC games, they're out-rebounding their opponents by nearly 11 per game. So they do that. They play defense. They are up. They have great wing defenders on the team. Dwan Anderson is a terrific defender. What I like about them, their player that's caught my eye this year is Michael Carey. Michael Carey, a junior college transfer. He's listed as a 6'5" guard, but he's 3rd in the NEC in rebounding. And when Wagner played Bryant last Thursday on our CBS Sports Network national game, I was talking to Jim O'Connell, who's the legendary AP sports writer, and he loved Michael Carey also. And we were talking about players, and what he said to me was, you don't always want to label a guy as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Some guys are just players. Michael Carey is a player. In that game, he had 10 points and 15 rebounds. He gives them another dimension. They have the high-flying acrobatics to Dwan Anderson, one of the best scorers in the league, and Corey Henson. This is a team that has potential to go along. St. Francis U, Rob Crimmel's troops. Picked 8th in the preseason poll. I like this team. I like their blend of youth and experience here. They have the veterans, Ben Malo-Meunier. They have the criminally underrated Greg Brown, and Ronnie Drinnen at power forward. Those 3 guys, that's a solid core. Now they've added some freshmen to the starting lineup. They have Josh Nebo, who's 6'8", long, block shots, gets up and down the court, finishes on the break. You have Isaiah Blackman, who can not only shoot the 3, but has had already his share of highlight reel finishes and dunks. You have Malik Harmon, Basil Thompson coming off the bench. This is a team, it's deeper than people think. They run great stuff. Rob Crimmel, I've always admired his offense that he runs. They have FDU and Mount coming up, so it's a good game. They play both of the teams, two of the teams tied for first place. This is a team that has long-term potential in the league, not only this year, but I think in years to come. FDU, Greg Herenda, team was picked 9th in the preseason poll. This to me, FDU, now it's early. They're 3-1, they've only played 4 games, but they have, to me, the best story so far. Look at FDU. They start 4 sophomores and a freshman. 4 sophomores and a freshman. And it's starting to come together for them. They're a deep team. They'll play 9 guys, 10 guys. I've seen them play 11 players in a game. They have, this year, a legit star-making turn from Earl Potts Jr., who's gone from pretty good rookie to a superstar here in his second season. You have Mike Holloway, a big man. That's what they lacked last year. They had a hard time competing on the boards. Now they got a 6'8" rock there in the middle. Mike Holloway's the rookie of the week this week. Earl Potts is the player of the week. You have Stephon Jiggets, who's improving every day, sort of a combo guard. Him and Darian Anderson will share point guard duties. Both players played a lot of minutes last year. It's helping them this year. Marcus Towns. This is a team that's talented. They get up and down the court. They play a fun style. They're ranked in the top 20 nationally in turnovers forced, turnover margin, and steals. Fun to watch, and they're starting to see some success on the court. We'll see if it lasts.
All right, Ron. Well, we'll see if those 5 teams can keep up their strong performance for the rest of conference play. All right, Ron. Well, now we're going to bring social media into the show. It's our Twitter Take 5. What do you got for me?
You want to know what caught my eye? Our commissioner right down the hall, Noreen Morris, caught my eye with her tweet from down at Mount St. Mary's, where she took in the Mount Central game last week. She tweeted, "Love the respect at CCSU Blue Devils Dickerman, Howie Dickerman, showed at Mount Athletics coach Jim Phelan with a pregame visit, #bowtie." As we all know, as any longtime NEC fan would know, Jim Phelan, an NEC Hall of Famer, 830 career wins, one of the legendary coaches who have ever coached in college basketball. And he was known for that bow tie, which is right there on the Knott Arena court. And for Howie Dickerman, someone who's coached many times early in his Central career, but late in Jim Phelan's career, they coached against each other in the 1999 NEC Championship game as well. And to see that mutual respect for Coach Dickerman to come into Emmitsburg and do that, and then seek out Coach Phelan, to me is great, and it's what the NEC is all about.
All right, Ron. Well, it's great to see the respect between Howie Dickerman and Jim Phelan. You got a legendary coach in Jim Phelan, and Howie Dickerman, he's a great coach in his own right. Now we're going to move on to Who Said It, where Ron is going to read you a quote, and you're only going to have a few seconds to guess who said it.
All right, here we go. This week's quote. "Last year we lost a lot of games, and we paid those dues over the summer. Every night I went to bed, I thought it was my responsibility. Now we're getting the fruits of our labors. The sophomores are like juniors and seniors. I think we're ready." All right, Kyle, who said it? Do you know?
I'm going to go with FDU men's basketball coach Greg Herenda.
Did you know that, or did you cheat and look at my sheet over there?
I knew that.
All right, there you go. He's right, Greg Herenda. What I like about that quote is that Greg came into FDU with a plan, and he brought his guys in, and he played them right away last year. All those freshmen, they got experience last year. They were playing 25, 30 minutes a game. Your Darian Andersons, your Earl Potts, your Stephon Jiggets, your Marcus Towns. And now they are playing like they've been around a while. And I think that they're taking right now, early in the season, the first step on what is the elevation of the FDU basketball program. So great quote, and we'll keep doing these every week.
All right, well, I hope folks at home were able to guess who said it. Now we're going to move on to a new segment called NEC Film Room, where Ron is going to break down some key plays from the past week.
We're in my favorite place. We're in the film room now. And I want to take you back to Saturday. Rothman Center, Hackensack, New Jersey. FDU playing Central Connecticut. FDU's out on the break here. And dare I say, this is a bit San Antonio Spurs-like with their passing. Let's roll it. Stephon Jiggets coming up the court quick, sends a bounce pass to the corner to Darian Anderson. You see all the Central players. I think they all think he's going to shoot a three-pointer here. They're all heading towards the baseline. Anderson must sense this and gets the ball out to the top of the key to Ghassan Neme. Here Mustafa Jones comes running at Neme, who gives him a great head fake, puts the ball on the floor for a dribble. Go ahead. Stop it. Right there. Malik Toppin has to come meet him. Doesn't want to give up the dribble penetration. When he does that, Neme, who does he find? NEC Rookie of the Week, Mike Holloway for the jam. Some Spurs-like passing from FDU on Saturday. Our second play takes us to Emmitsburg, Maryland. This was the game of the week on Saturday. Bryant, Mount St. Mary's. Mount had a 20-point second-half lead, but Bryant just kept chipping away until they found themselves down 2. 6.5 seconds left. We had a timeout. Here's the side out of bounds that came out of that timeout. Let's roll it. Shane McLaughlin's going to come take this inbound, but stop right there. You see Taylor Danaher. He's a 7-footer. He switched onto McLaughlin. This will play a big role in what happens on this play. Keep rolling it. McLaughlin gets the ball. There's a Gus Riley screen right there. So you see Danaher, he gets caught on the screen here. McLaughlin's going to turn the corner. Now Greg Graves is a great athlete. He's 6'6", but he's not a 7-footer. The only other player you have in the paint, 6'1" Charles Glover. Let's see how this turned out. McLaughlin able to use his quickness and really his toughness to get that shot up. It's actually pretty good defense there. He just made the shot. That's what you expect from your senior leader. Game went to overtime. Bryant wound up winning, but it was a great game. Mount St. Mary's and Bryant on Saturday. And this wasn't the first time Shane McLaughlin has played the role of hero against the Mount. Go back to his freshman season, 2012-13. McLaughlin wasn't playing all that much. He certainly wasn't a scorer, but at the end of the game, down 1 to the Mount at home in Smithfield, look who had the ball, found the ball in his hand. Roll it. There's Frankie Dobbs, great point guard for Bryant. Sends it over to McLaughlin, who makes a great behind-the-back dribble, knifes in, lays it in. Bryant wins in overtime against Mount St. Mary's. He's bookended his career with some great plays, Shane McLaughlin.
All right, now we're going to move on to another new segment called Did You Know?, where Ron is going to give us a fun fact about NEC men's basketball. Ron, what do you got for us?
I love tracking NEC basketball players once they graduate, seeing what they're up to. So I was surprised to find 2 former NEC Men's Basketball Player of the Year award winners. They're playing on the same professional team in Mexico right now. We have Javier Mojica, who many of you will remember as one of the linchpins of their 2007 Central Connecticut team that won their 3rd NEC title. He was the Player of the Year that year, and the best thing about his story is that he was a walk-on. He went from walk-on to Player of the Year in 4 years. He's the leading scorer for the team down in Mexico. And Jalen Cannon, the 2014-15 NEC Player of the Year from St. Francis, Brooklyn, where they went to the postseason NIT, won the NEC regular season crown. He's their leading rebounder. So good to see those 2 connecting down in Mexico. 2 great players, 2 of my favorites. And it's good to see them moving on with their professional careers. And for Mojica, he's competed internationally for Puerto Rico, and it's been a nice, now it's 8-9 years now he's been a professional.
All right, Ron, well, it's always great to see former NEC basketball players succeeding in the pros, succeeding in life. But next, we're going to take a look at NEC on the Dial. Ron, what's the TV game this week?
Looks like we have a big one this weekend. TV returns. This time will be in Loretto. St. Francis U hosting Mount St. Mary's, battle of 2 first-place teams now. Now, you have no excuse not to catch this game because it's going to be on Masson Sports, down for our Mid-Atlantic fans, down by the Mount. It'll also be on nationally on Fox College Sports and ESPN3. So along with that big game, 9 other games to watch between Thursday and Saturday on NEC Front Row.
All right, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to the season premiere of NEC On The Run. We'll be back next week to bring you more news about NEC men's basketball. For Ron Ratner, I'm Kyle Turner. We'll see you next time.